Hey, it's Russ, and in today's video, I'm going to show you why coaches get stuck between $20,000 and $100,000 a month, no matter how hard you try to scale. So if you're a coach, consultant, or expert, you're already making good money, but you feel trapped in the center of your business, you're exhausted, you're wondering why your growth is completely flatline, pay really close attention because this one is going to tell you exactly what is stopping you from scaling. So here's what I'm going to cover. We're going to talk about why your business stops growing every time you try to grow it and why the problem probably isn't your strategy or your offer or your team or anything like that. We're going to talk about the identity shift that I see that separates the coaches who break through the 100K a month barrier from the ones who stay stuck, and why you've probably been resisting making that shift without even realizing it. And we're going to talk about the three things that you must build to remove yourself from the center of your business and how to do that without losing quality, without, um, you know, staying stuck, without clients complaining, and without your revenue taking a hit. So, my promise to you is this: by the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly what's keeping you stuck between 20K and 100K a month and exactly what to do about it. But before we get into all that, let me just check in with you and let's talk about what things probably look like for you right now, because I have been there. You're making good money, but you've been stuck at the same revenue level for about 6 months, maybe longer. Nothing you try seems to move the needle. You're the one closing all the sales because you're the only one who knows how to sell. And every time you've tried to hand them off, the close rates have tanked. You're the one coaching all the clients because you're the one who knows how to coach and they're signing up to work with you. And you feel like you can't step back without letting everybody down. You are the one making every decision because your team can't seem to move forward without your approval. You haven't taken a real vacation in like months. Last time you tried, you've spent half of it on your laptop putting out fires. And the thing that really sucks is that you are working more hours now than you were a few years ago. You have less freedom now than when you started. And you're telling yourself that that's cool because every other idiot on YouTube is like, bro, you got to rise and grind. You got to grind it out. You got to work those 60-hour weeks. But that's bullshit because let's be real. You built this business for freedom and you built this business to make an impact. But what you've built instead is a prison. So if any of that sounds like you, then I actually have good news because none of those things are the real problem. The real problem is that you are still operating as a coach when you need to be operating as a CEO. Makes sense? So a coach changes lives one by one. That's the job. But a CEO builds a machine that changes lives and can scale. And that's a completely different job. So you've been trying to scale while you're still thinking like a coach. And that's the reason that you're stuck because the business cannot outgrow your identity. But once you make this shift, everything changes. You wake up, your calendar has breathing room. Your team handles the sales calls, the client delivery, the daily decisions. The revenue grows whether you are in the room or not. You can take 2 weeks off, like I'm about to do, and the business runs like clockwork without you. So you're working less, you're making more, and you're actually enjoying what you've built, and you're providing a better outcome for your clients than you were before. So that's what's available when you stop being the coach and you start being the CEO. So really quickly, let me just introduce myself. If you're new to the channel, my name is Russ Ruffino. I'm the founder of a company called Clients on Demand. We've helped over 6,000 coaches and experts build and scale high ticket businesses. We've done over 9 figures in sales. And I have personally been trapped exactly where you are, trapped in the center of the business, burning out, wondering if this is just what success is supposed to feel like. And I can promise you it is not. And I'm going to show you the way out. I'm going to do it right here in this video. So there's three things that you need to shift in order to break free from being the bottleneck of your business. I'm going to walk you through all three of them right now. So we're going to talk about culture, process, and people. And look, if at any point in this video you realize that you need help implementing this, there's a link in the description of the video. You can book a call with my team. We will get on a call. We will look at your situation and we'll just map out exactly what needs to change. But for right now, let me just show you what you've been missing. The first missing piece is culture. So here's something that's going to sound backwards. The most important thing you can build is not your systems or your processes or your funnels. Those things are important. It's not even your team. It's culture. Now I know culture sounds like this like corporate buzzword. You probably think it's bullshit. I thought it was bullshit. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is this incredible invisible operating system that is constantly running behind the scenes. A great culture attracts A players and keeps A players. So Columbia University did this study, and they found that companies with a strong culture will have turnover under 14%, but companies with a weak culture will have turnover over 50%. That's not a small difference. That is the difference between building on the rock and building on sand, to paraphrase Jesus, okay? So what happens when you get this wrong? Without strong culture, every decision has to go through you because you are the only one who knows the right thing to do. So your team is always second guessing themselves. They're always waiting for your approval. They don't take initiative. And when you're not around, everything falls apart. But when you get the culture right, your team makes decisions the way that you would, even when you're not there. They know what the company stands for. They don't have to ask. They know exactly what they need to do. So, what's your job in creating culture? I'll give it to you in one word: clarity. Clarity. You need to define in very specific terms what your company stands for and what you will and will not tolerate. And you don't do that with vague values like, oh, we stand for excellence or we stand for integrity, because those don't mean anything. What I'm talking about are specific behavioral non negotiables. So, one of ours is we don't make promises that we can't keep. If we can't deliver it, we don't sell it, even if it costs us the deal. Even if the client is like, I'll pay you a fortune to do XYZ. If we don't do XYZ, we're not taking that deal. That's specific, that's actionable. My sales team knows exactly what to do when a prospect asks for something that we can't provide. So it is your job as the CEO to provide and define those non negotiables and repeat them again and again until your team gets it and it sinks down into their bones. So let me give you an example of the power of a great culture. One of my friends went to Japan pretty recently, and she was actually taking a cab, and she took a cab from one historical landmark to another, and she paid cash. So this is important. The driver wasn't picking her up at her hotel. It wasn't dropping her off at her hotel. He had no idea where she was staying, no credit card receipt, nothing. And during that ride, her wallet fell out. She left it in the cab. Now, by the time she realized it, the cab was long gone. It was hours later before she figured it out. No way to track it down, no receipt, nothing. Now, if that happens to you in Chicago or New York, you are toast. You are never seeing that wallet again. You're going to cancel your cards. You're going to replace your ID. You're kissing that cash goodbye. And my friend thought that she was toast too. 3 days later, she gets a knock on her hotel room door. It's the cab driver. He gets her wallet, he looks at her ID, he calls every hotel in town, and he tracks her down, and he brings her back her wallet personally. All the cash was there. All the credit cards were there, and the guy absolutely positively would not accept any reward of any kind. He just bowed, and he gave her back the wallet, and that was that. And that is the power of culture. Nobody told this guy to do that. There's no policy, there's no manual. He could have taken that wallet and taken the money. Nobody would have been the wiser, but he did it because when you are in Japan, that is what you do. That is the culture. That is the operating system that is constantly running in the background of that country. And that's why it's a great country. So when the culture is strong, people do the right thing, whether you are around or not, even when it's hard, even when they could get away with not doing it. That is what you are trying to build. You want it is a beautiful, invisible operating system that guides behavior automatically. And when culture is weak, you got to step into every single decision. You have to be in the room, you have to babysit, you have to be watching. But when the culture is strong, people do the right thing whether you're there or not. Make sense? So the bottom line is this: culture is what happens when you're not in the room. You want to define it clearly, you want to repeat it constantly. And I'll tell you, when you are just beginning to get sick of hearing yourself talk about culture, that's when your team is starting to get it. All right. So when you do that, you don't need to be a part of every decision. All right. The second shift is process. Now, here's something counterintuitive. Most coaches think they need better people, and sometimes you do. But when I look at coaches' businesses, a lot of the times the people are great. What's missing are clear processes because the owner doesn't know how to systematize. So your business probably isn't stuck because you have the wrong people. You might, but more often than not, it's stuck because you have the right people, but they don't have the right playbook. Make sense? So again, when you get this wrong, everything depends on you. You're the one who knows how to sell, so you're having to do all the selling. You're the only one who knows how to serve the clients, so you're the one serving all the clients. You're the only one who knows how to put out fires and fix problems, so that's what you're doing all day. And that knowledge lives in your head, but that means that you are the bottleneck for everything. When you have clearly defined processes, and I'm talking about like idiot-proof checklists, then that knowledge lives in the system. Anybody can access it, anybody can execute it. You can step away and your team can just run the playbook. What you need to do is you need to figure out the 3 to 5 most important things in the business that drive like 80% of your results. So for most coaching businesses, that's lead generation, that is sales, and that is how you deliver results. That's it. So pick the one that is the most dependent on you to start. And all you have to do is just record yourself doing it. So if you're going through a sales call, record yourself doing 5 or 10 sales calls, take the transcripts, upload them to Claude or ChatGPT or some kind of AI engine, and ask it to turn it into a playbook that someone else can follow. So think of it like McDonald's, right? I mean, McDonald's doesn't go out there and hire like Michelin-starred master chefs. They hire kids, kids with no experience, but every burger comes out the same because the process is perfect. Okay. So the talent is variable. They got smart people working there. They have not so smart people working there, but the process is so strong that it really doesn't matter. You can get a consistent outcome every time. So you want to build a business where the process is doing the heavy lifting, not where exceptional talent is required for everything to work. So the moral of the story is this: you are not the bottleneck because you're essential. You're just the bottleneck because you haven't written down what you know. So fix that, and then you can step away. And then the third thing you need to get in place are great people. Now, I know I just said process is the most important thing, but when you have terrible processes and good people, you can get by. But when you have great processes and great people, I would be shocked if your company doesn't absolutely crush it, even if you are completely incompetent at everything else. Okay. So let's talk about how to do this. Now, one of the biggest mistakes I see coaches make is they hire based on resumes and experience. Instead, you need to be hiring on character and who these people are. So if you get this wrong, you end up hiring people with impressive backgrounds. They know how to do things the way they've always been done. But when your business requires thinking on your feet and adaptability and ownership, these people are going to choke. They're going to struggle. They're going to wait to be told what to do, and they're not going to take initiative. And you're going to be ending up with people who need managing instead of people who manage themselves. So when you hire for the right traits, though, you get people who figure things out, who think on their feet, who take responsibility, and who make your life easier. And when you get someone like that, I swear to God, it's like a breath of fresh air. So here's what we look for at Clients on Demand. We look for two main things. Number one, intelligence. So intelligence is obvious. You want people who are smart, but this is important. You want to hire people who are smarter than you, or at least as smart as you. When you're talking to someone, you know, oh man, this dude's pretty bright, or this woman's pretty bright. Those are the people that you want. So then you start with intelligence, and then you hire for the personality trait called conscientiousness. Conscientiousness means you're organized, you're reliable, it means you take ownership, it means you do what you need to do. So if you hire a smart guy who's not conscientious, he's going to find ways to cut corners. But you want to hire people that are ultra conscientious and smart. And the best way to measure this is with personality assessments. And the one that we use is called the Big Five. It measures 5 traits: openness, conscientiousness, extroversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism. This test is insane. It is so incredibly predictive of how people are gonna show up at work every day. It is like a crystal ball. So when you're in the hiring process, use these tests. Don't go with your gut. Don't hire your nephew. Don't just rely on interviews. Get the data. Screen for the right personality traits. Screen for intelligence. And then when you are in the interview, ask great questions that reveal the person's character. Hey, tell me about a time when you had to make a decision, but you didn't have all the information that you needed. Tell me about a time you had a big disagreement with your boss. How did that work out? What happened? What was the situation? Tell me about a problem that you solved that nobody asked you to solve. So what you're looking for are people who take ownership, who think independently, who don't need to be managed. And then this is critical. You have to actually give them that ownership. So I'm not saying, hey, do this, do this, do this, not just tasks. You're going to give them outcomes. Hey, here's the KPI we need to hit, and you're going to let them make decisions without your approval. And yes, they're going to fail. Yes, they're going to fall on their face. We just literally bought our kids bikes for Christmas, and the kids fell off the bikes. It's okay. If they keep getting on the bike, they will learn how to ride and they will know how to do that forever. So the main point is this: your job is definitely not to do all the work, and your job isn't even to manage doing the work. Your job is to build people who can own the work completely. And that starts with hiring the right people. And that starts with people who are smart and people who are conscientious, and then trusting them with real responsibility. All right, let me bring this together. If your business stops growing, if you get stuck between 20K and 100K a month, it's probably because you're still operating as a coach instead of a CEO. A coach changes lives. A CEO builds a machine that changes lives. Let me say that again. A CEO builds a machine that changes lives. And in order to do that, you need culture, you need crystal clear processes like McDonald's, and you need the right people, people who are smart, people who are conscientious. And one more thing, you got to get these people to buy into the mission. What is the mission of your company? What is the reason that it exists? What is the difference that you're making in the lives of people all over the world? The more you over communicate that to your team, the better your team is going to be. So now you have a choice. You can keep doing what you've been doing. You can keep grinding because you don't want to hire anybody. You don't want to take the risk. You don't want to train anybody. You want to just stay the bottleneck. And I'm going to tell you, a year from now, 2 years from now, you're going to be stuck exactly where you are today. Or you can make the shift. You can stop being a coach and you can start being a CEO, and you can build something that runs without you having to babysit everyone every day, because that's what you really wanted. You wanted income, you wanted freedom, and you wanted impact. And even if you're making the money right now, if you don't have the freedom and you're not making a difference, you are not doing your job. So if you want help making this shift, that's exactly what we do. We work with coaches who are stuck, who are ready to break through. We will help you build the culture, the process, and the people so that you can scale without burning out. So there's a link in the description of the video to book a breakthrough call with the team. On that call, we will get into your specific situation. We'll figure out what's keeping you stuck. We'll map out how to fix it. And if we're a fit to work together, great, cool. If not, we will still give you that crystal clear game plan. So click the link, book a call, see you on the other side. Thanks for watching. If this was valuable, hit subscribe. We drop new strategies pretty much every week for coaches who want to scale without losing their minds. I'm Russ Ruffino. Catch you in the next one.